Fancy thou being my partner, Lord Sydney? At tennis, I mean. With thou, Anthony of Hancock, methinks we might get a good iron. I'll have you know, Sid, I won the Blackfriars Cup. Everyone else kept tripping over their monk's habits. Never mind, I'll ask Will the Bastard of Avon. It's Bard, Hancock. You mean England's best wordsmith? William Shakespeare? He's standing right behind you.
Don't worry, I will escort you, Lord Anthony, on the tennis court, lest your racket parts from its strings and shatters thee, as if your bloomers were losing their elastic.
On second thought, Shakespeare, don't bother, I didn't bring me earplugs. Never mind, I'll take me chance in the singles. Right, what delightful fellow am I playing first? Oh, look, Thomas Crowe, Elizabeth I, Chief Executioner. And I've heard he cheats. He uses a blunt tennis racket. Ha ha ha. I'm playing you in the first round then, Hancock. I'll keep your guts. Me tennis racket needs restringing. Yes, I bet he will. You are sharp-witted as that axe of yours, Thomas. But don't bring it with you. We don't want you accidentally cutting off your head, do we? You mustn't talk about the royal axe like that. Don't let Queen Elizabeth hear you say that. It's been sharpened in case we find any Catholics watching on Mary Queen of Scots Hill. Why art thou crossing yourself, Anthony? You're not a Catholic, are you? Be a Catholic? No. Very droll, of course, Sid. No, I was simply dusting crumbs off me doublet.
I have a doublet and hose made by my darling Anne of Hathaway, but as any woman can maketh a doublet or triplet, but it's what inside that maketh the man, Hancock. Meanwhile, I'm playing with the young trans gentleman in the very mixed doubles, so sod off.
What's Shakespeare on about, Sir Sidney? If I knew Lord Hancock, I'd go and watch him down the Rose and Crown Theatre. Well, I don't understand a word either. But be careful, he might be one of Her Majesty's spies. They are sent to spy on us in the changing room. Well, in that case, I'd better go and wash me long johns. It's like all the mirrors in there. Hundreds of eyes on you, Hancock, listening out for any loose talk. 007 is the most dangerous. You want to keep away from him. The name is vagus familiar, Sir Sidney. Is he a player? There are many rumours about. He has hundreds of lovers. They all throw their bloomers at him. He's a bit of a Ronaldo.
All the words are stage. I must write a play. Ronaldo and Juliet. And all the men and women merely players. Ronaldo, wherefore art thou, ducky?
Yes, I thought you were playing in the mixed doubles, Shakespeare.
Well, I was supposed to be partnering good Queen Bess herself, but she dropped me when I kept losing me balls.
So you got beaten?
Viciously. She kept beating the ball boy around the head with a racket, shouting 15 love. She lost the motion of senses. She must have been referring to my 15 lovers. It is best to cover oneself with opprobrium, Lord Hancock, than kisses in the eye of the Queen.
What's he on about? God only knows, Anthony. I went to school with him, and nobody wanted to sit next to the bugger. He kept saying, "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate." To all the boys it was. Catholic school, was it, perchance? No, you're not going to catch me out. I was at Shoreditch Comprehensive for gas nights, and we burnt Catholics in the playground on cold days, and along with all the books. Excellent, Sir Sidney. We don't want any papists on the tennis court now, do we? We have standards to preserve. All the European tennis players are Catholics, which is why we have to play with ourselves. And if you can name any of them, it's bonfire night as far as the Queen is concerned.
30.
I'm through to the second round, Sid. I've just beaten Thomas Crow, the Queen's axeman. He's a vagabond and no true tennis player, I will agree. The racket slipped out of my hand and flew across the net and hit him right in the gate hole. The Queen was roaring him on, making little chopping actions with her hands.
No, be careful, Hancock, for not to stick your neck out and crow, lest the last thing you hear is an axe nestling on your neck. You won't feel like you're a smart-ass because your neck will smart-ass even more.
When was the last time you managed to win a tennis match without having your racket swinging both ways, Shakespeare?
You, Hancock, are like an adder with two tongues. I never know which one is trying to bite me, and neither head has a kind word to say.
You can talk, Shakespeare, but in the end, all you maketh is one mighty racket. 40-30. I'm through to the second round too, Hancock. I just beat that old pirate, Francis Drake. Yes, I watched some of it. He was trying to use his balls as tennis balls, the fool. He's a bit thick, if you ask me. He tried to convince the umpire a tennis ball was a jack. He was in a bit of a hurry, I suppose. He conceded the match and said something about the Armada. I think he meant the shopping centre in Plymouth. He's too late, poor fellow. Walter Raleigh scuttled the Armada last week. Francis Drake had better settle for scuttling a pasty and a pint of cider.
Verily, God showed whose side he was on at last, and dealt those heathen Catholics a mortal blow, which filled their sails and sent them back to Spain apace. King Neptune, crack thy cheeks like a hamster, and blow, I say.
That's laying it on a bit thick, Bill. They're humans like us, those Frenchies.
Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Do I smell a traitor? Do I sense you have some sympathy for the spumer Satan? Perhaps you owe the Catholics something. Allegiance to the King of France, per se.
You've got to have a bit of heart, haven't you, Shakespeare?
Then perhaps you're more than a sympathiser. You are an orchestrator of sympathies and a conductor of teachers.
If I understood your words, Shakespeare, I might not make out of them a prison for myself.
Beware the Ides of July, Sir Sidney. Look at what happened to Boris Becker. He was found out by a clay court.
Who's on court number 007, Sir Sidney? Well, looking at the outfits, it's Shakespeare again and Yorick the court jester, alas.
No balls, please.
Alas, poor Shakespeare. They must have heard you were coming.
What fault, Mr. Shakespeare?
Out. The ball's in. The lady umpire doth protest too much, methinks.
A word of warning, Shakespeare. I think the umpire is the Virgin Queen in disguise. I think she suspects you of Catholic taste in tennis shorts.
What are you on about? Be prudent, Hancock. That is loose talk, for I have the Queen's ear. When you play, do you serve the Queen or her enemy?
You'll have more than her ears if the axe falleth upon her swan-like neck, Shakespeare.
That is treasonable talk, Lord Sidney. Treason is like the fox in the hen house, is it not? Tempting the chickens with honey and sweetening their eggs before spitting them forth like a venom.
Game, set and match to Sir Walter Raleigh and Lord Howard of Effingham.
This is going to be a doddle. We're getting that lot in the third round, Sid. You were too busy volleying your own jibes hither and thither, William. We'll thrash 'em, Hancock. Raleigh and Effingham are a couple of fops. So, Anthony of Hancock, you think I'm a fop, do you? I challenge you to a duel on Henman Hill. Lord Anthony and Sir Sidney can be your second. You can come first if you like, Sid, and stand in front. I'd take a bullet for you. You are a coward, Hancock. Make sure you're wearing yellow, with a buttercup in your lapel.
Ha 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 ha! That serves you justice, Hancock. May you fall upon the mercy of Raleigh. I would rather watch your chestnuts roasting on one of good Queen Bess's fires.
Right, a nice relax in the changing rooms then, Sid.
Would thou pass the soap, Lord Effingham? No, the lavender-scented one, not the carbolic.
Yes, that's Wimbledon for another year, Lord Sydney, and we've come away with the trophy. We've met our match at last, but it's the taking part that counts. As for myself, I caught Queen Elizabeth's eye. Why, you old dog, Sydney, you still got it. Not like that, I caught her in the eye with one of me rocket serves. Forsooth, it serves her right. She was flirting with Earl Robert Dudley. Methinks she wants a whirl with the Earl. You're fooling yourself, Sid. You mean one of your rocket serves that's so quick that nobody notices? What do you mean she deserves it? She's cut more heads off than a florist, ain't she?
But remember ye well, Lord Sydney, 'tis Catholics, not daisies, that are losing their heads. Like poppies they lay crushed upon the cobbles at Tyburn. You are foolish and wise, sirrah.
Hang on, Sid. I think the Swan of Avon is the Spy 007. He pretendeth to be a tennis player, yet he knows not his forehand from his forehead. I've just thought of a new nickname for him, Hancock. The Grass of Wimbledon. What about this one? The Parrot of Putney. Or Wimbledon Strawberries. To Hull and back.
What have we here? Two squawkers that need knocking off their perches. You two were unseeded, were you not? So would our pretty bodies like a little seed, or are they too busy sowing it in each other's ears? Such treachery sprouts when it finds fertile ground. Lord Sydney and Anthony Hancock.
Oh, do shut up, Shakespeare. Your words are like your tennis. A load of old balls. Who's that there, Sid? That's Jack D, the Magus, magician and alchemist, and wandering tennis player of our good nation. Hello there, Hancock. So you lost again, did you? Ha 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 ha. I might have lost, but it's you who bears the miserable face. The word is out, D, that you are 007, otherwise known as 007. You have sharp wits, Hancock, and we need some sharp swords as well. We're getting an army to go to Calais. Fancy debowling a few Frenchmen? No, I don't like disemboweling before breakfast, Dr. D, so I'll have to decline your offer. However, if you think the French need some disemvoweling, I'd like to shave some of the words down to size.
So, 007 turns out not to be a number, Hancock. It's you. Two staring, frightened eyes and a walking stick.
You're not going soft on the Catholics, are you, Anthony Hancock? Why, perish the thought. Show me a Catholic and I'll rip his throat out with me bare hands.
No, don't listen to this lily wreath of lies. However, I suggest to the Magus that Hancock would not shed a tear if every Frenchman had an English larynx in his hand and used it as a piccolo.
So, let me test you, Hancock. I believe, and I have seen it in the tarot cards, that Sir Sidney is a Catholic sympathiser. So, show your loyalty to the Queen and rip out the traitor's throat. Hang on a minute, Jack. I haven't eaten yet. You can't let Hancock rip out an empty throat, can ya? 'Tis your turn to test, Sir Sidney. You testeth my credulity, but off and have your lunch, and return here before the lark wakes from its slumber. France, here we come.